The office of Pope John the 23rd announces the excommunication of Fidel Castro for preaching communism and interfering with Catholic churches in Cuba. United States embargo against Cuba begins, and Project Mercury John Glenn becomes the first American to orbit the Earth 3 times in 4 hours and 55 minutes. The year is 1962, and this interesting car was on offer at Dodge, but before getting into all of it, I'm Jay. Welcome to What It's Like, the automotive channel that features cars everyone can afford and dares you to drive something different, especially when the speed limit is at like 80 miles an hour. Might as well drive something with class and style, opposed to the cookie cutter appliances of today, whether it be for daily or recreational use. History, specs, design, but most importantly, we show what these cars are like. If that sounds of interest, a channel that you will totally dig, subscribe and hit the bell icon next to it to never miss a video. This 1962 Dodge Lancer GT is currently for sale at Classic Auto Mall, Morgantown, Pennsylvania. Walk through the front doors and I swear you can hear angels sing. Ah, because Classic Auto Mall is just like visiting car heaven, with over 1,000 cars for sale when recording this episode. Cars from 1900 all the way up. There is literally something there for everyone. It's open to the public. Anybody can go there. It's totally free to get in or out. Hours of operation, directions, and to see more pictures and information pertaining to this very car, be sure to click the link below after the show. 1962 Dodge model lineup, Lancer in the basement, followed by the Dart, Polara, and Custom at the top. Dodge offered the Lancer in 3 different time periods, 1955 through 59 as Cornet Lancer, Royal Lancer, Custom Royal Lancer. 1960 for the 61 model year through 1962, Lancer took a long break, making a comeback in 1984 for the 1985 model year, and then ending in 1989. 1962 Dodge Lancer could be had as a 4-door sedan, 2-door sedan, 4-door wagon, and 2-door hardtop GT. This period of Dodge Lancer was essentially higher priced, upmarket version of the Plymouth Valiant. It's also worth mentioning the body styles just previously mentioned were also available for the Plymouth Valiant, and were identical, with the only major difference being a more upscale interior and exterior trim on the Dodge Lancer. The Lancer was available in 2, technically 3 trims. Base model was 170, and the Primo model being 770 model. The hardtop for 1962 got its own designation trim, GT, which sported bucket seats in the front, 2-tone paint, and premium trim. Designed by Virgil Exner. Real quick analogy pertaining to the forward look, which was the name for the period in which Exner was at the helm of designing at Chrysler. 1955 through 56, you and your date are about to go to this shindig everybody is talking about. 57 through 58, you get to the shindig and you start mingling in with the people there, having a few drinks, having a good time. 59 through 60, drinks are flowing, but unbeknownst to you, everything was laced with fill in the blank. 61 through 62, it's just utter confusion and the worst hangover ever. It's like, what happened? Let's talk specs. 188.8 inches long, 72.3 inches wide. It rides a wheelbase of 106.5 inches. It weighs 2,560 pounds. Price, $2,260, which is equivalent to you spending $23,699.50 in the year 2024. Total 1962 Dodge production was 240,484 units, of which 26,100 approximately were Lancer 770, and of that number, 14,140 were the GT hardtop variety. Moving on to engine, which, surprise, conflicting information, I am going to include both of these engines. Some sources say that the 170 wasn't available in the GT. Other sources said that it was, so I'm just going to include it anyway. 170 cubic inch displacement, slant 6, 2.8 liters. It's good for 101 horsepower at 4,400 RPM, 155 pound-feet or 210 newton meters at 2,400 RPM with a bore of 3.4 inches and a stroke of 3.1 inches. Compression was 8.5 to 1. 3-speed manual transmission. 0 to 60 could be had in 14.5 seconds. Theoretical top speed of 89 miles per hour while achieving an average fuel consumption rating of 16.1 miles to the gallon. And it's worth mentioning that these are all just baseline jumping off numbers. Mileage may vary. Between the years of 1960 through 1962, Chrysler offered this option called the Hyper Pack. It was available on the 170 cubic inch displacement through Chrysler dealers. It entailed long ram intake manifold, AFB 4-barrel Carter carburetor, cast iron exhaust headers, 276 duration camshaft with upgraded valve springs and push rods, heavy clutch, manual choke, high compression pistons, which increased compression to 10.5 to 1. It was recommended for manual transmission cars. It boosts horsepower up to 148 horsepower. Moving on to the biggest and baddest engine on offer for the Lancer, 225 cubic inch displacement, slant 6, 3.7 liters. It's good for 145 horsepower at 4,000 RPM, 215 pound-feet at 2,800 RPM, with a bore of 3.4 inches and a stroke of 4.1 inches. Compression was 8.2 to 1. When backed with a 3-speed manual transmission, 0 to 60 could be had in 11 seconds. Theoretical top speed of 99 miles per hour while achieving an average 15 miles to the gallon. 2 transmissions on offer: push button torque flight automatic 3-speed or the 3-speed manual. Let's talk styling. But just look at this grille. Also has quad headlights. And look at how it peaks right here. So just check out all of the different lines, layers going on. Love how this is convexed. Beautiful Lancer GT badge right there. So turn signal indicators are down below here. Just look at those bumpers. The hood section is relatively smooth aside from the lines coming up to the GT badge here. And then it goes back into a single piece wraparound windshield. This car does have a cowl with opposing windshield wipers done in stainless steel. I love this two-toneness, this white here. It really sets everything off. Side mirrors are mounted right there at the bottom of the vent window. Just notice how they are designed. Front bumper wraps clear back around to wheel well here. The wheel well is flared out with trim capping it off. Look at those wheel covers. This car is riding on 6.5 15 4-ply. So tubeless bias. I love this line here, how it protrudes out and it runs to about 2/3 of the driver's door. There's a better look at that line. And then it tapers right back in right there. This car does have drip rails. It starts right here and it runs the cabin. There's a lot of lines in this roof design. Back glass also wraps around ever so slightly. This car does have a bit of rocker molding. The rear wheel wells are flared, but it's more or less trim. Here's the gas door on the driver's side. Some more trim there. Rear bumpers, which wrap clear back around. Just look at this tail design. I can't tell if this car is ugly or if it's pretty. I think it might be so fugly it's actually beautiful. There's a lot of different lines and shapes and all kinds of stuff going on with the design. The bumpers. This door doesn't have a whole lot of heft to it per se, but it still feels very quality. This feels like a harder vinyl material separated by bright bars. Armrests as well as door handle to pull the door shut. Door handle to get out. Window crank for the big window. And notice it doesn't have a frame around it. Vent windows, which operate like this. Coming down inside the pedal box down here, emergency brake and or parking brake, emergency brake and or parking brake release. Right behind it is the high beam switch. Brake pedal, gas pedal. Just take a look at this interior. Here is what over the hood looks like. Here is what first person over the hood would look like. I love a thin steering wheel. This steering wheel feels great in my hands. I love the little nubs on the other side. I also love the little channel at the top here. But the channel only goes from here to there on both sides. Just something to rub your finger on, and I love that. I love that little detail. On to the button switches and knobs, starting on the left and moving right. Push button drive, reverse, neutral, drive second, first. Oil pressure, warning light, headlight, speedometer. Notice the numbers are not flipped. Odometer, gasoline gauge, coolant temperature, amp meter, turn signal indicators, windshield wipers and wash feature, key/ignition, heat and fan blower speed, off, defrost, high and low, Lancer radio, slider for warmer air. Up above, sun visors are on the big side. It's got a daytime, nighttime rearview mirror in the center. Another sun visor over here. Ashtray as well as cigarette lighter. On to the glove box test. There is our test subject. Here is my hand for reference. Here is the glove box in question. Oh man, look at that. Look, it fits. It fits in the glove box, but I'm afraid to shut it because I don't want to lose my camera behind the dashboard, if that makes any sense. I don't think it would shut anyway. Getting in the rear, but before we do, just look at all of the bright work on these chairs. Also, when I sat in these seats are really comfortable. These look very similar to the same style seat that you would find in a Mustang from like the 60s, as well as Plymouth Valiant, Camaro. These ones are the most comfortable ones I've ever been in. I owned a 67 Mustang for 5 years. My seats weren't this comfortable. So getting in the back, just fold the seat forward, and that is as far forward as it goes, giving you plenty of access to get in the rear. This red looks awesome. Here's what the front looks like from the back. Let's take a quick gander at the pillar to glass greenhouse ratio. It's nice and airy in this car. There's lots of windows. This is what visibility looks like out the back from the back seat. There is a nice 2-tier parcel shelf back there. Creature comforts. There is a coat hook on both sides. Dome light in center. Ashtrays on the back of the seats. There's one there. There's another one over here for the passenger. Armrest, the windows do go down. Let's talk about the seat back profile back here. It is rather reclined, but it's almost U-shaped. Like it cradles you. The seat back does not dip down nearly as far as some other cars, but the bench is relatively wide. With all of that said, though, I'm 6 foot tall, 6'2", and there's enough space to put my fingertips in between my knee and the back of this seat. This is what I look like sitting in the back. My hair is a bit of a fro. I need to cut it, I know. I'm looking kind of homeless, but anyway, it is grazing the top of the headliner a little bit, but I am not uncomfortable back here. There is plenty of room. This car very much reminds me of Signet. I think it comes after this. The interior is very reminiscent of that car, as well as the interior in the seats. And it's a really nice place to be. I really dig this interior. Taking a gander at the trunk situation, which seems to be pretty good sized, bumper jack off to the side, plaid, getting under the hood, liner, nestled in the engine bay is a 225 slant 6 12-volt battery, alternator, dual horns, which are located at the rear. Look at how small the radiator is. Single master brake cylinder, non-power assisted. Distributor is on the passenger side. This engine also appears to have a spin-on oil filter, which is located just behind the distributor. On the positive side, nothing looks like it. I was never a fan. I've always felt like this was too much, too many styling ideas on one car, but I have an attraction to weird cars, and I would totally buy one of these. These are still affordable, mostly due to the love it or hate it styling. Bulletproof slant 6 power plant. It's not a huge car. So many cars from the late 50s, early 60s they're really big. This is a really nice, manageable sized car. Front seats were plushy and super comfortable. Against it. Love it or hate it styling kinda has a polarizing vibe. I mean, people either love this car, and the people that love these cars really love these cars. And then there are people that think they are fugly. And there isn't a middle ground per se. Unit body rust worries, despite Dodge's advertisement that they rust-proof the bodies, they still rust. Indifferent, fit, and finish. All right, now it's time for Would You Rather. 2 scenarios today. In the first scenario, would you rather 1962 Corvair Monza Spider, that's the turbo one, or 1962 Dodge Lancer, or 1962 Ford Falcon? I'm going to leave this here for a minute. If you need more time, feel free, pause the video. On to the second scenario, 1962 AMC American, or 1962 Dodge Lancer, or 1962 Pontiac Tempest. Once again, gonna leave this here for a minute. If you need more time, feel free, pause the video. Now it's time for Name That Tune. First person to give both the name of the band and the song title correctly in the comment section will have your comment pinned to the top of it. Question: what did you guys think of the new camera footage? Do you like it over the GoPro? I think it shoots great, and I think that you're able to see so many more lines and colors and details and everything. But I was just wondering what you guys thought. Thank you all so much for coming out and watching this. If you'd like to get in touch with me, shoot me a comment in the comment section below, or check out our Facebook group that correlates with this YouTube channel. I call it the After Party. It gives you the opportunity to share your rides, stories, experiences, anything car related is a go on there. If you don't have Facebook and would still like to reach me, send me an email. All of that information will be linked in the description below. Just know I appreciate everything that you guys bring in the comment section. And until next time, toodaloo! There was something about you, baby, so right. I couldn't leave without you, baby, tonight.